Hello, what's going on? This is Ola. My name is Ola. Um, Welcome to this channel. So this video is going to serve as a part two, but more or less a response to Meet Kevin's videos that he's been doing. I've been watching this guy. Honestly, I try to pay attention to what's going on in the market and everything. I've been watching him, and I just watched a video from him, and I've decided to take some time to dissect this video he just did. This particular video was released. Let me see. This video was released today, May 4th. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the time, okay, to dissect this video. Everything is telling you in this video about real estate wholesaling is a lie. More importantly, I want to share with you what you need to focus on as an entrepreneur in general. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to play back this video and I'm going to dissect everything he says one after one sentence, maybe a couple of sentences at the time. I've watched him try to, it pretty much leaves off of, his video channel leaves off of finding ways to discredit other people's channel, ideologies, philosophy. The truth of the matter is that in the business, the business of what do you call it? Let's see here. Let me just make sure that I'm on the right place. Okay, so let me make sure I switch over to the right screen. 1 second. Just pardon me real quick. I'm going to make sure I switch. Okay, yeah, I'm on the right screen. All right. Okay, so yeah, this video right here. Okay. Yep. So I'm going to play this video back and we're going to dissect it. Essentially, what he's doing is discrediting the whole idea of real estate wholesaling. I see other channels do that to many other businesses. If it doesn't fit their model, they always find ways to discredit it. I think his agenda essentially is to attract people to his channel. My secondary agenda here actually is also to attract people that will be watching this video to my channel, because I'm going to teach them the right thing they need to know. Maybe you're one of them. I'm going to teach you the right thing you need to know about entrepreneurship and business in general. It's not really about a business model. It's really about whatever attracts you as a person in business models, okay? But to just outrightly go out here and say every real estate wholesaler are liars who are trying to steal people's equity, that in itself, by its own self, is a lie. And it's completely not true. If you follow me, I teach real estate wholesaling here as a concept. And essentially, people that want to learn the most important thing about all of this, which is marketing, I help those people out. But I teach everything there is to learn about wholesaling right here. There's nothing extra or special about it. You can Google information about it. The part that most people cannot Google in any game is marketing, okay? You can Google yourself out of business when it comes to marketing. You need a mentor because the platforms, the media, or what human beings call media is always changing. So you need somebody to help you, handhold you. And that's what this is all about. All right, so with that being said, we're going to get into this video. I'm going to play it and we're going to dissect it together, okay?
This video is about real estate wholesaling. As a real estate broker selling over $20 million in real estate every single year, and this year we might be on track for $30 million in personal real estate sales. I deal with a lot of wholesalers, so I've got some great insights for you. Watch through this video, and this is what you're going to take away.
So everything is going to say in this video is almost like, you know, that upload you just heard right now? It's almost like somebody come in here and say, hey, you have an upload in your video, you're trying to scam people. There are people out there that will say, hey, because you have background music on your videos, that you're trying to cajole people into scamming them and things like that. But no one is coming here to his video to say that, right? Because, hey, you would have expectations for someone shooting the video to want to engage people, right? So I'm not blaming him, but exactly what he's doing on this video is picking on other people's, other business model that he's not familiar with, that he doesn't know anything about, and then discrediting it, okay? But I'm going to sit here right now and discredit everything he said, but it's going to make sense to you as well, too, okay?
What wholesaling is, how people make money wholesaling, how wholesaling fails, and the alternatives to wholesaling real estate.
So he says how wholesaling fails and the alternatives. So watch out. make sure you listen out to whatever the alternative is going to offer you right now, okay?
Just to note, this video is part of the Providing More playlist, which is mostly just me sitting here and talking to you, which is a whole lot less editing, and I am thankful for that, especially after the Brian Casala video, which I am also very thankful for your support on. That video got over 23,000 views in the first 12 hours. It was mind-blowing. I've never seen the bar go like, woo! That was really, really cool. Thank you. It's since calmed down, but I haven't. Now, what is real estate wholesaling? Wholesaling is the ultimate arbitrage.
All right. So is the ultimate arbitrage. Okay, so wait a second. Let me just make sure that I'm sharing the right screen here. Okay, let me just make sure that we're sharing the right screen and we're playing the right screen. I think we are. Let's see here. Yep, we are. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm going to start. I need to play this one right here.
Real estate wholesaling. As a real estate broker selling over $20 million in real estate every single year, and this year we might be on track for $30 million in personal real estate sales. I deal with a lot of wholesalers, so I've got some great insights for you. Watch through this video, and this is what you're going to take away. What wholesaling is, how people make money wholesaling, how wholesaling fails, and the alternatives to wholesaling real estate. Just to note, this video is part of the Providing More playlist, which is mostly just me sitting here and talking to you, which is a whole lot less editing, and I am thankful for that, especially after the Brian Casala video, which I am also very thankful for your support on. That video got over 20.
Okay, so I want you to pay attention to that. So he did another video by another guy, Brian Casala. I actually follow him too, and he has good content. He's a realtor out of California, and he has good content, and he has followers without having to bash anybody. So I want you to pay attention. Again, he just mentioned he did another video on Brian Casala, which is this video right here, Brian Casala. So that's all he does, okay? He just comes here and, you know, I don't know what the content of that video is, but I know that this guy, he's pretty much doing clickbaiting here. And he says lies, and the Brian Casala, he puts his name in the same sentence as lies, okay? All right, so just pay attention to that.
23,000 views in the first 12 hours. It was mind-blowing. I've never seen the bar go like, woo! That was really, really cool. Thank you. It's since calmed down, but I haven't. Now, what is real estate wholesaling? Wholesaling is the ultimate arbitrage. Real estate wholesaling is best exemplified. Let's go with an example where Betty Lou needs to sell a house.
So first of all, there's nothing wrong with arbitrage, right? So he just painted arbitrage like that's such a negative thing. There's nothing wrong with that in business. That's what we're all in business for, right? We buy so we can sell, okay? And we make money from the spread in between, however way you want to make it, either as equity or as a royalty, as residual, as whatever you want to make it as, right? You make money in between by buying and you're selling, okay? So, but he just stylishly tried to paint that as a negative thing, but just
let's keep for $100,000. She thinks her house is worth $100,000, but then somebody like, let's say, Ty Lopez comes around who knows in the back of his mind that the house is actually worth $150,000 in the exact condition that it's in. But Betty Lou doesn't necessarily know the market. She doesn't have access to the internet, and Ty makes her an offer for $90,000.
So he just made a case that Betty Lou does not know that her property is worth $150,000. She does not know that her property is worth $150,000, right? First of all, that's knowledge, and knowledge can translate to money and value in people's pocket. Okay, that's number one. Number two, as a wholesaler, I don't approach people without letting them know what their property is worth. That's not the game. So he completely missed it right there. The game is not about not telling people or not disclosing to people what their property is actually worth. Everybody, including the internet, including their phone, knows what their property is worth. Now, if they're willing to sell it for less, that's their cup of tea, and they have their reason, their personal reason why they want to sell the property for less. But this guy is painting the picture like somebody went in there and say, hey, we're just going to make sure this person never find out what their property is worth. That's complete bullshit. And he knows it. But again, he's trying to paint this picture here. I'm here to tell you what the truth is, okay? All right, let's keep going.
He says, hey, I wanted 190. That's pretty close. Let's make a deal. So Ty Lopez, being a buyer or wholesaler, just established a contract where
I want you to note that he's using Ty Lopez's name specifically so he can use it in the same in a negative format. Okay, he keeps saying that because, you know, there's people out here who are essentially wussies who consider him to be a scam artist for knowing how to advertise on the internet. Okay, so I want you to pay attention to what he's trying to do right there as well too, by mentioning Ty Lopez's name. If you don't know who Ty Lopez's name is, who Ty Lopez is, don't worry about it. Okay.
where he was able to buy a house that is essentially worth $150,000 on the open market, which, by the way, the open...
So do you note the text here? It says fictitious tie. So again, I want you to know what this guy is doing. He is good at qualifying people's name with negativity. That's essentially what it's good for, okay? So if you come here and you think you're learning anything from him, you're making a big mistake, because it's not allowing you to think for yourself, okay? What my goal here is that I'm going to share some information with you, especially with respect to what he's sharing with you here, and I want you to think for yourself and see if it makes any sense, okay?
Market would be the multiple listing service, which automatically syndicates with the Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, Redfin, so on and so forth, hundreds of other websites that exist out there. That is when you are on the market and exposed to the most.
So he says the only time you're on the market is on MLS. I partially agree with that, okay? However, because your house is on the MLS doesn't mean it's getting the best exposure for the house. Every house is different. Every situation, every seller situation is unique. And people have multiple arrays of different reasons why they need to sell. There's a difference between somebody that wants to sell and a person that needs to sell, okay? If you go to a pawn store, right? I think that's what they call it, right? Where you go essentially, or an auction, right? There's a different reason why somebody go to an auction to sell than a reason why they go to a regular market where they have a store in a mall where they're just sitting there waiting for you to come in. There's a reason why people go to an auction as compared to going to a mall and opening a store and selling there. It's two different motivations. So the key thing is missing here is, what is the motivation? Why would somebody want to sell their property that's worth $150,000 for $90,000? It's painting the picture like it's tie, fictitious tie, as it calls it, who is making that person forget that their property is worth $150,000 all of a sudden, or blocking that person's access from the internet, right? He's bullshit, okay? People know what their property is worth. If they decide to sell it for $90,000 to a wholesaler, it's because of certain events in their life, aka pre-foreclosures, aka divorce, aka I owe too much money, I need to get out of this right now, I don't have time for the market, I don't have time to wait for the market. The property, time value, right? Waiting on the market for 60 to 100 days, there's time value in between all of that, right? Somebody comes in and they're able to get the house out of your hands, right? And he's calling that a scam, okay? So just pay attention, okay? Because he knows how to sweet talk you doesn't mean he knows what he's talking about. Because clearly he doesn't know what value is. When somebody goes into the marketplace and they say, I need to sell my house right now, that need, there's this amount of value attached to that, okay? And the fact that they want it off their books right now, there's a value attached to that, okay? Now, that doesn't mean they're going to get it off your books, but at least somebody was able to sell them that. So if he was able to sell you on part 1 of this video, which I'm helping him do part 2 right now, right? Then he was good at that, but he's not as good as you, because I'm going to share some more information with you in this part 2 of that video, okay?
Amount of buyers. If you're only exposed to one person, then you're not on the market. Now, Ty Lopez, no relation to anyone else I know, these are all made up names, knows this.
Okay, you just noticed that dramatic thing we just did right there, okay? No mention of people's name, but he's doing exactly that, right? Okay, great. He's a liar. I just want you to pay attention to that.
Acknowledge that this $90,000 house now in escrow is actually worth $150,000. Betty don't know that. So Ty promises Betty a very smooth transaction.
So let's keep correcting this guy. Betty knows what her property is worth. She just simply does not want to sit on the market waiting for that property to sell forever. Some people inherit properties that they don't want. They don't want the property. If you go in there and you offer them $20,000 to walk away, they will take that money, and that's value to them. So because they didn't know, or because they didn't want to wait on the market, does not mean that somebody stole that equity away from them, okay? All right, so just like in real estate wholesaling, in MLM, in network marketing, in real estate brokerage, there are scam artists in every single one of those business models. I just think it's ridiculous if your only skill set is to pick on other people's business model. I think it's ridiculous, because clearly He doesn't know what he's talking about. Let's keep going. You're going to see more of this example.
They sign a contract with, let's say, a $5,000 deposit. Ty writes a check to a neutral third party that's going to protect his $5,000 investment into the deal, so to speak, until either Ty removes all of his contingencies or rights to cancel, like inspections, loans, appraisals, whatever, or the deal closes or consummates, finishes. As soon as Ty Lopez has a signed contract, Betty Lou can no longer sell the house to anybody else. So what that means is, if Betty Lou is in escrow or in a transaction to sell her house for $90,000, and then
so that's not necessarily true. Actually, the real estate wholesalers game is a lot more lenient than the real estate broker. Is the real estate brokerage. If you go to a regular licensed agent, it's over there that they enforce the rules and they enforce laws, and they tell you all the laws against you why you can't get out of a contract. As a matter of fact, if you put a house under a contract as a real estate wholesaler and the person manages to sell it, typically a real estate wholesaler is not sweating over that. They move on. They move on because they don't want the trouble. It didn't work out. They move on, right? It's the real estate brokerage, regular licensed agents that hold people hostage as a matter of fact, okay?
A neighbor hears, wait, you sold your house for $90,000? Well, heck, I know it's worth $150 on the market. I'll give you $120 right now. Betty can't sell it. The person wants.
So people just show up and say, I'll give you $120 right now. Is that how it works? If you think you could sell property like that, people just say, hey, you sold it for 90. So, oh man, I could give you 90. I could give you 120 right now. If that's how it works, then if you go to your MLS everywhere, there shouldn't be houses sitting on the market for 200, 300 days, 150 days, sometimes 600 days. There should not be any house on the MLS, which is quote unquote the exposure to all market, right? There should not be any house on that market for more than 100 days. But the fact of the matter is that there are houses on that market because a ton of realtors, right, don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. They overlease, they overprice houses. They put houses that are overpriced on the market, and therefore nobody wants. If a house is overpriced, nobody's going to want the house. It's as simple as that, right? There's a reason why an average realtor makes $8,000 a year. Just don't forget that, okay? So let's keep going here.
Wanting to offer more money. She signed a contract to sell her house. She's trapped into that contract as long as Ty abides by the terms in the contract, which wholesalers write the contract so they make the terms favorably enough to know that they can manipulate the game.
It doesn't matter. People get into a contract to help somebody get rid of a property. When it comes to the real estate wholesaling game, at least the way I teach it, you are there to help somebody get rid of a property. Somebody who absolutely need to get rid of a property as of yesterday. They don't want to sell. They're not trying to move to Florida. The house is just bad on their books and they need to get rid of it. It's two different ball games.
We're not going to go into those exact contractual details here, and you'll see why. Now, let's say
if you follow me, I don't get into contractual details. I let the lawyer do that, and I teach you to do the same thing. Your responsibility is marketing. You're not there to figure out legalities, okay? That's why there are lawyers at the table of every closing that I do, and I advise everybody to do the same. Yeah, there are states where it's not required, but I just advise everybody make sure there's an attorney at the table to make sure that all interests are protected. Again, the fact that your property is worth $150 by appraisal doesn't mean that's what you're going to get for it. Doesn't mean that's absolutely what you need to sell it for. Doesn't mean you have the time to sit around on the market, quote unquote, exposed market to everyone for it to sell. That one person that walks in through the door could just be your lifesaver on that day. But this guy, of course, he doesn't know what value is. He thinks value is equity that's not really cash in a property, right? Equity can be cash, but it takes time to extract equity out as cash. Does that make sense? It takes time to extract just equity in a home out as cash. Some people don't have that time. And guess what? If they don't have that time, that simply means they don't have the equity. That's simple math that some people, quote unquote, young entrepreneurs like this kid right here, do not understand. Time is value, and maybe he was raised a rich kid. He doesn't know how much time means. It's much more, time as value is much more worth more than money, okay? But he doesn't get that. Let's keep going.
Say Ty sets up a 90-day escrow. In theory, Ty now has 60 days to market the property, find a buyer willing to pay $150,000 for the property because he locked it up for less than market value. And then he could do one of two things. Number one, he could assign the contract to that new buyer. I generally don't see that happen because it flushes out the roots, right? All of a sudden now all of the parties know, and Betty's going, wait a minute, you're giving the contract to him and you're collecting all this extra money? I'm getting cooked. So usually what they do is call—
Well, you know why Betty was feeling that way? If there's such a thing as Betty, it's because Betty is a greedy bastard too, who wanted to get rid of the house, and now all of a sudden they see how much somebody else is making, and now they're being greedy. That's called being greedy. That's called being a rogue. Okay, that's what that is, and that's not on the part of the real estate wholesaler. But yes, that does happen, and that's why the second option that he's about to mention exists,
called a double escrow. That is, Ty purchases the property from Betty and only has that $5,000 deposit, sells it to somebody else, has the escrow coordinated so that this—
So again, what is wrong with buying the property for somebody and selling it to somebody else? I don't understand. What is wrong with that? So again, that sounds like business in any civilized world, right? Okay, so just watch how he's painting this picture to look like such a bad thing for you, okay?
second sale closes on the same day as the first sale, so that the money coming from the second new sale goes to the escrow company, and actually they use that money to close the deal on the first. So they never have—
So using the money from a second transaction to close the deal on the first is not something that's common anymore since 2008, since 2009 crash. But there's something, if you don't know, as a real estate wholesaler, there's something called transactional funding these days, where people will come to the table with the money you need, the actual cash, so that you don't touch the other person's money, the other wire. You don't touch that. They come to the table with the actual money you need for maybe 1 point. They charge you 1% of the actual value of the transaction, and they use that money for 5 minutes to buy the property before you sell it to somebody else to keep the books clean. But he just painted that like you stole somebody else's money to close the deal. First of all, we used to do that, and that was the truth, and there was nothing wrong with it. But when the government created the restriction, right, that you can't use the same cash to close all these deals, which means it was legal all along, but all of a sudden it becomes illegal, right? Then there's this solution called transactional funding. They come to the table with the $200,000 you need to do the first transaction. They charge you $2,000. It doesn't matter because you're about to make $20,000 anyway, and that's just cost of doing business. And then you sell the house on the second transaction. That way, Betty gets the money that she wants on the first transaction, which was $200,000, and then you get the profit for selling the property on the second transaction. All of this is legal, by the way. And again, this guy is sitting on YouTube trying to paint the picture like it's something illegal. Now, remember, what service did you bring to the table? You helped Betty get rid of a property that she does not want anymore, and she's not willing to sit on the market waiting for $150,000. It wasn't like she doesn't know that the property was worth $150,000. If you could wait, that means with time. That means with time you can extract more equity out of the house. If you don't have time, then you cannot extract that equity, because equity takes time before it turns to cash. Are we making sense a little bit? Please, if I'm making sense, give me a thumbs up, okay?
Had to touch any of the money. Don't worry if you don't understand how to make that contractual part work, whether you're assigning a contract or doing a double escrow. It's really a topic for a different video, but quite frankly, I think—
No, that was it. It wasn't a topic for a different video. It's as simple as that. You buy a property and you buy that property, it's now yours, so you sell it to somebody else. I just told you that they didn't use the second cash to close all of the deals. These days, they use transactional funding. You could Google it, and it's all over the place. So again, it's lying to you, okay? It's lying to you. There's nothing extra about double escrow. If you're a wholesaler, it's not stuff you have to figure out. That's the stuff for the legal people to figure out, and the closing agents. That's what they figure out, okay? All right.
After I make this video, there won't be a need for that topic. Now, let's say Ty Lopez sells this property to somebody called Robert Evans for $150,000. After fees, Ty Lopez, as the wholesaler, stands to net, there's a gross profit of $60,000, but stands to net, let's just say to make math easy, $50,000.
Well, if Ty nets $50,000 for knowing how to find buyers in a timely manner, right, for a property, right, that somebody was willing to get rid of, and that person's need was very clear. They need to get rid of it. They're not wanting to sell. They know how to find realtors if they want to sell. Realtors are all over the place. They could Google realtor, it comes right up, right? But they didn't find a realtor. They found a buyer that was willing to pay how much they were willing to let go of the house off, and the person turns around and make 50 grand. They don't have the right to make that money. I'm confused here, right? Are you confused as much as I am? Well, I'm not that confused. This guy just doesn't know what he's talking about. Ty will be making that money legally. Ty will be making that money rightfully and ethically, okay? So let's keep going.
At double escrow, where that assignment happens, Ty can walk away with $50,000 and make a pretty good chunk of change for not doing too much work.
No, for knowing how money works. He will be making good chunk of change for knowing how money works. It's as simple as that, okay? For knowing how value works, for knowing how to bring value to the table for people that know how to, that were looking for that value, for knowing how to bring value to the table for a motivated, a highly motivated seller who was probably distressed because of divorce, because of pre-foreclosure, because they inherited a property that was eating up taxes and they don't want the property, right? They know how to solve that person's problem. That's why they made $50,000. And don't let anybody deceive you that real estate wholesalers don't work. They do work. As a matter of fact, I'm going to share with you how they essentially, the work of a real estate wholesaler and a real estate broker is essentially the same thing. It comes down to marketing, okay? It all comes down to marketing. You got to know how to find motivated sellers for this to work. If you want to be a realtor too, you got to know how to find sellers that are willing to work with you. You got to dress up and have sparky ear like this guy so people can work with you, okay? You got to look sharp. The only difference in real estate wholesaling is that you don't have to look sharp like him. You're just solving problems for somebody who desperately needed our help. There's a lot of people that own properties that they don't need. This is the same guy that was bashing Grant Cardone, but he didn't really directly bash him, but it was essentially benefiting off of his audience by saying he doesn't make sense by telling people to buy rental properties. Well, because he has an agenda. He wants people to buy properties. He wants people to buy a home. And he's trying to paint all this picture and forgets the simple fact that if you have a house, one single family, and it's vacant, that's 100% vacancy factor, and that can eat you up. That's business. Again, it takes experience to know these things. This kid, I don't know, he's probably less than 30 years old, and he doesn't know anything about business. He has no experience whatsoever. He has experience putting nice YouTube videos together. He's made some really decent money closing deals, and I think he's going to get better. He's probably going to get wiser with time, but everything he's saying here just spells out no experience, okay?
Traditional wholesaling, the retail client or the wedding venue perceives a benefit. They don't have to deal with China. They don't have to go to China. They don't have to verify materials, quantities. They don't have to deal with tariffs, imports, duties, parcels.
That is not true. Real estate wholesalers have to work, okay? They have to work. They can make 50 grand a deal, but they have to work. And some of the real estate wholesalers that are savvy in the business are also licensed. In other words, they also make money like this guy. They have ways that they make money, commissions from deals that don't pass for flipping, that for deals that don't pass for a rehabber. So again, don't let this guy deceive you. He's trying to put everything into one box like it's a one size fits all. It doesn't work that way. He's lying to you. Real estate wholesalers have to work just as much as real estate brokers, except that they bring more value to the table. They can serve your needs if you need to list a property for sale because they will actually price it right. If that property needs, if you need it off your books right now, they can solve that problem as well for you. He can't. He can't solve that problem. He's only in there for your commissions without taking any kind of responsibility. And therefore, the only thing he wants to do is come on YouTube and bash that business model. Okay? Let's keep going.
They don't have to deal with any of that. They place the order, product shows up, and they can focus on selling more weddings, which is more important to their bottom line by increasing their top line. That's like a Grant Cardone line right there. So in this model,
you're dumb. That's business. Okay? This guy's the dumbest person. That's a Grant Cardone line because it works. Okay, everyone is there to buy and to sell, but every single one of all of us have to learn how to market. You're on YouTube. I'm on YouTube because we're here marketing at the end of the day. Because if you don't have people coming through your business, you have no business. Forget the house. Forget the equity in the house. If you're not bringing people through your business, you're not going to make money. And you could go get a license all you want because you want to avoid real estate wholesaling. It's the same problem you're going to face. You need to market. You need to learn how to get people coming through your pipeline. And that's something that Grant Cardone is very good at teaching, that this kid is always here trying to paint a perfect picture. There's nothing perfect in life, guys. Maybe he has a perfect life, but nobody has a perfect life. At least in the long run, he's not going to have a perfect life too. Okay, let's keep going.
The producer, the manufacturer wins, the retailer at the end, the wedding store wins, and the wholesaler actually provided a legitimate service and also collects a fee. So you've got a win-win-win deal. In real estate wholesaling, the producer of the product, in this case, Betty Lou, the seller of the house, loses out on about 50.
Did that make sense? So Betty Lou, as an adult, said, yes, I'm willing to sell my property for $90,000. Okay, so keep going.
$50,000 of market value on the property. She's
$50,000 of market value is not the same thing as cash. I want you to note that. Forever in your mind, just note that. $50,000 of equity in your house is not the same thing as cash in the bank. I want you to note that. If you want that equity, you're going to have to take some time, put it on the market with this dumbass, and it's going to be listed on the market for 60 to 100 days, okay? And then before you can get that money, if it's priced right. Most realtors don't even know how to price the property. They're always going to overprice it because they're in the game to make commissions, and the bigger they mark the price up, the bigger their commission, and they're very short-sighted as opposed to pricing it properly so they can make money. They overprice it and they never make any money. Dumbasses, right? But that's how most realtors operate, you know? And he's here painting a picture that if you're a real estate wholesaler, Betty loses. How does Betty lose when she said she wanted $90,000 in a timely manner and she got the $90,000? Does that make any sense?
Selling. Ooh. That same $50,000, the wholesalers net profit. The buyer.
Remember, there was no $50,000 until the real estate wholesaler showed up with the value and the solution. They made that money rightfully because they earned it. Okay, they knew how to market. They found a motivated seller. Not only did they find a motivated seller, they actually found a buyer. Okay, that's two times the amount of work. Okay, and you may think, how much work? Well, it's all marketing at the end of the day. It just depends on how the deals are structured and how much value exactly are you structuring, okay?
Robert Evans, in this case, doesn't perceive much benefit, and there may even be a disservice to Robert Evans. See, here's the kicker. Betty Lou.
Hey guys, how's it going? Today, I want to show you my awesome new Wix website. It's got everything I love all in one place.
I have to get rid of the ad.
And there may even be a disservice to Robert Evans. See, here's the kicker. Betty Lou, the producer, was not provided with a service. Instead, she was provided with a disservice. She was not given the information that the wholesaler knew. That the
So wait. So Betty was provided with exactly what she wanted, 90 grand. But that was a disservice. So see how dumb that sounds? I mean, let's keep it G. Let's keep it straightforward here, okay? She wanted 90 grand, she got to 90 grand, okay? She didn't know her property was worth 150. Let's even assume she didn't know her property was worth 150. If she didn't know, so what? Okay, somebody went in there that knew, and they got the property from her. If I told her her property was worth 150 and said, but you have to wait though, you have to call Kevin, list it on the market for 60 days to get, and she said, I don't have 60 days. Well, if you want me to buy it right now, put it on that contract right now for 90 grand. Are you willing? And she said, yes. What about that? Well, that's exactly the scenario with real estate wholesaling. But again, this guy is sitting down here painting it negatively.
Property was underpriced, and instead, she was essentially robbed of her fair market value of her property to line the pockets of the wholesaler. Not a really good.
She was robbed to line the pocket. So he's playing to a victim's mindset. Okay, a victim would typically think somebody robbed them, even if they gave whatever that thing away. So they have a bottle of water, they give it away. They're always gonna think, wow, he just robbed me of my bottle of water, right? That's how a victim thinks. They always think somebody's out to get them. So this guy, you best believe he's not like that, but he's playing to your mindset. He's playing to your psychology. If you're a victim, if you're a person that has a victimized mindset all the time, you will fall for this, right? You will fall for this. I already saw somebody comment like, oh yeah, thank God I didn't buy Cody Sperber's course. You didn't buy Cody Sperber's course because you were already a victim. You already thought he was going to take your money away. And this guy played to your mindset and now you're falling for it. Does that make sense? Okay, because everything we just said here, everything he said here does not make any sense. Somebody wanted 90 grand and they got the 90 grand, but yet the person got robbed. How? Okay, so just pay attention.
Good way to establish a reputation, because guess what? Friends and neighbors usually help people figure out when scams are going on, because come on, everybody kind of knows what real estate properties are. It's not that hard to figure out.
So he just contradicted himself. Everybody kind of know what real estate properties are, but yet Betty does not know what her property is worth. Betty could be 70 years old. She knows how to use a smartphone. She could just Google her address, and Redfin, Zillow, and Trulia will come up with the value, and yet she doesn't know what her property is worth, right? Is he contradicting himself or not? But now only the neighbors know what the property is worth, but Betty just by herself doesn't know. And that keeps working for every real estate wholesaler. These sellers just don't know what their property is worth. Is this guy making any sense? No, he doesn't. Okay, let's get with it. He just doesn't, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Maybe he does. He's just trying to trick you, okay?
How much a property's worth, at least ballpark. But some people without access to the internet or the savvy are classic victims for wholesaling. And I say victims because realistically, it's a...
See, I didn't know he was going to use the word victim. He just called you exactly what your name is if you're falling for what he's saying right now, okay? If you feel like a victim, you're a victim. It's just that simple, okay? But I bet you Betty does not feel like a victim. Betty is pretty happy that she got the 90 grand and she got rid of a house that she didn't really want anyway. The real estate wholesaling is about getting into the game to get properties that people don't want. It's not about getting the pretty houses. Real estate wholesalers don't go after pretty houses. They go after houses that need value to be added to them. The homeowner is not willing to add the value to them. Part of adding value to a property is by staging it properly and putting it on the market on MLS for a time. Some people are not willing to do all that work on the repair that's needed to do that. They're not willing to. The real estate wholesaler is not in the game of educating people on how they can lease their property. They're in the game to grab properties that people need to get rid of. It's as simple as that, right? It's different, two different games, right? The real estate, agent, like this guy, is in the game to, grab a property, list it as high as possible, and make commissions. There's nothing wrong with that either. But this guy, again, is sitting here trying to bash real estate wholesaling, okay? Pay attention, learn the game. Don't just take a guru's words as the gospel truth. You need to think about it yourself, okay? Think about it yourself.
Scam when you take market value away from people. You're not providing a service. Now, had she put the property...
So he just said, took money away from people.
A really good way to establish a reputation. Because guess what? Friends and neighbors usually help people figure out when scams are going on because, come on, everybody kind of knows what real estate properties are. It's not that hard to figure out how much a property's worth, at least ballpark. But
if it's not that hard, how come Betty doesn't know?
Some people without access to the internet or the savvy are...
Who doesn't have access to the internet in the United States of America? Who doesn't have access to the internet like willingly, like they just don't want the internet, right? I've never met anyone by myself personally. I've never met anyone. In fact, there's no phone out there with no internet on it right now these days, and there's no Betty out there with no phones with internet on it, right? All right.
Classic victims for wholesaling, and I say victims because realistically, it's a scam when you take market value away from people. You're not.
It's a scam when you take market value away from people. He never said when you take cash away from people. I think it's a scam when you cheat, steal, and lie, okay? When you're lying to people like this guy right now, that's a scam. When you steal from people, money, not market value. Market value is a vacuum. Essentially, it's just a data it's an information on a piece of paper or on the internet, okay? Market value does not equal to money until the property is actually sold to a willing buyer, okay? But there's one thing here. When you cheat and you steal and you lie, you're a scam artist, okay? This guy has performed one of it right now by lying to you, okay? He's a scam artist by doing that, okay? As far as the real estate wholesalers are concerned, they approached a motivated seller, somebody in pre-foreclosure that needs to get rid of a property, and they get the property with a signed contract and the person sold it to them willingly. They didn't cheat. They didn't steal. They didn't lie. So who is the scam artist here, right? Who is the scam artist here right now? Pay attention, guys.
Providing a service. Now, had she put the property on the market directly onto the multiple listing service so that it was fully available to any buyer, Robert Evans would have probably bought the property as well for $150,000. In this case, however, rather...
Remember, he said could have bought. He didn't say would have bought. He didn't say would have bought. He's not even sure. He said could have bought the property for $150,000. He's not even sure. You know why? Because nobody is sure. Because there's a ton of properties on the MLS itself that are sitting on there for 200, 300 days, okay? Because they were priced wrongly by realtors like this guy, okay? So again, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Let's just call that the theme of this video, okay? Real estate wholesaling exposed, part 2. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's a little kid with too much money in his mouth, and he can't think through straight until he gets a crash or something like that, and then maybe he will start wising up and understand that bashing other people's business is not the way to go to attract. You're going to attract the wrong type of people. Like he just said himself, he's going to attract victims. Okay, it's gonna attract victims. People who, I don't want to pay for Cody Sperber's course, because you don't want to pay because you're woozy yourself, because you can't think for yourself. You need Kevin to think for you. Okay, so if you're a victim, you're probably going to follow him. If you're a person that thinks for yourself, and you know what, value is not, market value is not the same thing as cash in the bank. So nobody can steal it away from you. It's impossible. So the statement is impossible in the first place.
Rather than there being a wholesaler who's in the middle, depressing market value on one side and then selling it for market value on the other side, profiting the difference, there would be real estate agents involved that would take a small fee, generally 2.5% to each side.
So 2.5% on each side. A real estate they want to take 2.5, right? A real estate wholesaler essentially helps somebody in a desperate need. They make 10%, maybe from $100,000 home, they make $10,000, right? But they didn't make it as a percentage. They made it because they knew how to create equity out of thin air. There's a knowledge involved in that. The equity belongs to the knowledge, not necessarily to some thin air, not necessarily to the ownership of the home. The equity belongs to the knowledge of exactly how to create value out of a situation that doesn't have value. Okay, see, you cannot create cash out of thin air. You have to create cash out of value, but value itself can be created out of thin air, and that's what real estate wholesaling is, right? But guess what real estate brokerage is too? When you create 2.5 from a transaction, this is essentially the same thing. It's just a different structure, and they're both legal business model, except one caters to one demographic. That means people that need to get rid of a property, and one caters to the other one, people that want to sell a property. That means they have time. They got time. I have time. I have a pretty house. I want to sell it. You go talk to Kevin. I have a property that needs too much work. I don't have time. I need to get rid of it right now. You come talk to Ola. You come talk to the real estate wholesaler, because he knows how to structure the deal and get rid of the house for you in 7 days. The keyword, keyword phrase, get rid of the house.
Which in this example would total $7,500, not $50,000. But instead, our fictional Ty Lopez convinces Betty Lou not to put the property on the market, locks up the property under contract at an artificially low price, and profits the difference.
She accepted the price because she needed to get rid of the house. If she wanted to sell, she would have come to you, Kevin. The majority of the market are just like that. They want to sell. They don't need to get rid of. So there's a ton of 7.5. Sorry, there's a ton of 2.5 for you to make, but there's quite just a few $50,000 out there. It's not a lot. But you know what? Smart real estate wholesalers still make that 2.5 together as well. See, you're dumb because you're only focused on the 2.5, where you can actually make $50,000 by you could put an offer on the property of people that need to sell it now. Really, the only requirement of you by the government or the licensing agent or agency is that you disclose to them. You got to let them know you're licensed. So instead of, if somebody has a property for $90,000 and it's worth $150, and they say, I don't have 60 days to sit on the market. How soon do you think it's going to sell? And they say, oh yeah, I mean, you got to give me some time. We got to stage the property. We got to make sure we price the property. They say, I don't have time. Well, if you don't have time, I can give you an offer. I'm an agent, but I do buy properties as well too. What's your offer? I'll pay $75,000 for the house right now, cash, if you want it. Yeah, please just get rid of this house for me. What? Tell me in the scenario I just gave you anything that sounds unethical to you. Remember, she accepted the offer, right? She accepted this offer because there's a value in it for her. She doesn't want the value in the $50,000 equity. She wants the value in the time that she doesn't want to sit on the market. That's where real estate wholesaling comes in, guys. That's where it comes in. But of course, Kevin doesn't know anything about that.
Himself by establishing himself as the seller of a property he technically doesn't own. And the disclosure laws related to this are pretty blurry anyway. So Betty loses, Ty wins a lot.
Disclosure laws is not blurry, okay? Disclosure laws are not that blurry, okay? It says don't cheat, don't steal, don't lie. Tell everybody what you're up to. Tell everybody, give them what you promised them, okay? Like deliver what you promised them. That's the disclosure law are not that blurry, okay? But of course, people that play to legalities are people that are trying to scam other people. They know that you, the victim, always say, hey, the law is in my favor. The consumer laws are in my favor, right? Well, winners don't care for consumer laws. Winners are out here to make money, okay? but they would do it not at the expense of cheating, stealing, and lying. Integrity, very simple, simple, straightforward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? But of course, people that want to scam you, they always play to your mindset by telling you what's legal and what's not legal. Disclosure laws are blurry. No, they're not blurry. It means don't cheat, don't steal, don't lie. Tell everybody what you're up to. That's as simple as that. Okay.
And Robert Evans, the buyer, he probably loses as well, even though he's paying the same amount for the property. And it doesn't technically seem like he's losing anything. He loses the advising nature of a real estate agent providing proper disclosure from Betty Lou.
That's a lie. See, again, this guy is stuck on traditional way of doing things. It's like somebody stuck on Comcast, Xfinity, right? When everybody else is already on Amazon sticks and using their Roku and using the YouTube TV live, right? This guy is stuck on that, you know, and it's kind of sad to watch him actually talk like this. So the realtors are the one that give the best advice because, quote unquote, fiduciary interest. They have your interest at heart. That's a lie from the pits of hell. Okay, the only person that has your interest is you, and is you educating yourself. I've seen people. I have a deal on my table right now that the seller was like, you know what? I know, you know, you guys are real estate wholesalers, right? Yeah, just give me a buyer. You know, I don't have time to deal with the market. I don't have time, but I need to get rid of this house because I don't want to come out to this neighborhood anymore, right? There are people like that out there. But of course, he doesn't know anything about that.
Lou's side and the professional advice and guidance from Betty Lou's side, and possibly also loses the advice and guidance of a buyer's agent. This gets complicated.
The idea that a buyer's agent guides and they have your best interests at heart, it can happen, but it's because of that person. It's not because the title real estate agent means that. The title real estate agent doesn't mean they will protect you always. It doesn't mean that. By the way, the same thing with lawyers and attorney too. That doesn't mean they will always protect you. People protecting you is because of their own personal integrity level, and you can smell that. You can feel that with your intuition, with your instinct. You can feel that either they're a real estate wholesaler or they're a real estate agent. It doesn't matter. You can tell if somebody is authentic with you or not. Just like you can hear my voice right now, and this is making sense to you, and you can hear my voice, and you can hear the authenticity as compared to this guy with all the music backgrounds and the jokes and the jests and everything that he's hiding to make you feel like real estate wholesaling is bad. It's bullshit. Okay.
We could go on forever about the little minutia of agents being involved and things like that, but that's not the point. The whole point.
But that was the point. You're trying to paint another business model negative, but you're saying that's not the point. You don't want to get into the minutia. The minutia is the point. You're digging into the minutia of real estate wholesaling. Are there people in real estate wholesaling that are doing business unethically? Of course, just like in any other business. Are there people at Lehman Brothers that were doing business unethically? Of course, right? Are there people in the government doing business unethically? Of course. But you're digging into the minutiae, but you don't want them to dig into the minutiae of real estate brokerage. Real estate brokerage is part of my business, and I dig it and I love it. But the idea of just throwing terminologies and phrases all over the place just to lie to people, I don't like that person. That doesn't sit well. I'm not an angel, but this is like blatantly just lying to people with things that actually have facts out there. You can go out there and you can Google real estate wholesaling and you can learn some facts as opposed to listening to this kind of combo.
This is real estate wholesaling relies on the premise of a scam. It relies on taking advantage.
Real estate wholesaling relies on the premise of a scam. That's a lie, okay? And he just scammed you by telling you that because you can Google real estate wholesaling and you can learn for yourself. Don't take him as the gospel truth, okay?
Advantage of uninformed people to sell a property for a profit and pocket the difference.
Taking advantage of uninformed people. That doesn't make any sense by itself. If people are uninformed, it doesn't mean that they didn't choose to be uninformed. That's number one. Number two, real estate wholesaling involves solving problems for people that need to get rid of a problem. It's a problem-solving business. It's not about looking for people that don't know what the property is worth. Most people know what their property is worth. If that's what real estate wholesalers were chasing after, that would leave virtually no houses for anyone to pick up, okay? People know what their property is worth. In fact, one of the first questions I ask people when they call me from my lead sources is that one of the first questions I ask them, I say, what do you think your property is worth? I want to know what they think their property is worth. They say, well, I think it's worth $200,000, but I need to get rid of this property. I don't know if it's really worth that, because I've actually listed it on the market with the realtor and there was no buyer. You know how many times I hear that? Okay, so this again, combo.
Now stick around, because we're going to talk about how people make money from wholesaling. But first, let's clear up the difference. In traditional wholesaling, the producer gains the benefit of more customers. The manufacturer gains more customers, more products to produce. The retailer gains the products they need to provide their customers the service they need. And the wholesaler makes it all happen and facilitates the process, collecting a fee. In real estate wholesaling, the producer of real estate, Betty Lou, gets screwed out of market value.
Get screwed out of market value, not out of money. Just remember, I keep saying that. Market value is not the same thing as cash in the bank unless somebody actually paid that money, okay? Especially in real estate. And he just tried to throw words all over the place with you, traditional wholesaling, the bullshit. Let's keep it simple, okay? Don't let people bullshit with your words, okay? With words and fancy words. Don't let people do that to you. It's very simple. Wholesaling is wholesaling. It makes you pick up something at the wholesale price and you sell it for a profit to people that are willing to pay the price. Everybody is win-win-win. Everybody got what they wanted. Betty got 90 grand. You got the spread in between. You found a seller willing to pay 150 or whatever that is. Typically not 150, maybe 120, right? You made $10,000 in between. You made $15,000 in between. All ethical business. Everybody was willing to do this. Everybody involved, the adults, who willingly got into the deal, knowing that Kevin, fictitious Kevin, was there that could list the property, and the property could be sitting on the market forever and never sell, and they get into more and more trouble because this property is continue to collect taxes and mortgages and insurance every month while it's sitting there, and Betty simply can't afford to keep this property anymore. Are we making sense a little bit here?
The buyer typically gets screwed out of proper disclosure, and the only person who really walks away like a king is the wholesaler. Now, here are the 3 ways people make money wholesaling real estate. Number 1, they have to be really, really good at finding off-the-market deals.
See, it's dumb. They have to be good at finding off-the-market deals. Guess what realtors have to find too? No. Wait, do realtors find properties already on the market or off-the-market deals? Okay, this guy is a dumb fuck, contradicting himself, okay? Excuse my French, sorry.
And taking advantage of these owners to put these properties on the market again and resell them. They may also take advantage of real estate agents who will agree to bring these deals to the wholesaler.
See, if you're a real estate agent and you just listen to that, he just literally cajoled you to think that, oh, you're against the real estate wholesaling game. Okay, let me tell you something. Real estate wholesalers and the wholesaling game is actually your friend if you're a realtor, okay? They create business. If anybody know anything about business, moving money is the fastest way to create business. Moving as fast as possible is what we call economy. When money is exchanging hands back and forth, that's what you call economy. When money stops exchanging hands, that's what you call a bad economy. That's what happened in 2008, and that's what happened in every recession. People start to panic, and they start to get afraid of spending money. They want to hold on to what they have. Anytime you have the kind of mindset that this guy is painting up for you, the lack of abundance mindset, you create scarcity, you attract scarcity, you attract lack of economy in your business. Let me tell you something right now. If you're a realtor, real estate wholesalers are on your best side. As a matter of fact, you should learn the skill of real estate wholesaling because you will create more business for yourself and investors, and you will move more houses in the market, and you will increase the value of your neighborhood by default, just because you understand that it's about moving money, okay? Of course, it's not going to tell you that. It's going to tell you theory, okay? But let's keep going.
First, and offer the wholesaler some side kickback money, which is totally illegal, for the promise of not putting properties.
Kickback money is totally illegal. Yes, it's illegal to kick back money, but that wasn't the point here. Kicking back money is not, real estate wholesaling is not defined as kicking back money. That's a different topic. Like you just said yourself, realtors do that too. So it's not even about the real estate wholesaling. Why bash real estate wholesaling? Kickback is illegal, yes, because they don't want people selling a house for what they think is worth and then giving money back, because that messes the value up of the property. But that has nothing to do with real estate wholesaling, nor does it have anything to do with real estate agency, okay? This is just a practice all in itself that's illegal, right? Because it deceives the people in the market the real value of a property. That's the reason why it's illegal. When you call something illegal, there's a reason, there's a purpose behind it. It's because it's deceiving somebody, it's telling lies to somebody, the market is cheating the market, is stealing from the market. That when you cheat, steal, and lie, that's when it's illegal. That's when the government, in a developed country at least, like United States, calls something illegal. They don't just call stuff illegal for the sake of it. Kicking back money to a buyer is essentially deceiving the market that the property is worth $200,000, where you actually kicked back 50, which means it was actually worth 150. Guess who was behind all of that when it happened? Realtors. Realtors and attorneys were all behind that when that happened. And yet you're here lying to people. Let's keep going.
On the market and instead bringing them to the wholesaler first. Pretty shady. This is why wholesalers generally don't stay in business very long.
Well, shooting this video is pretty shady because, again, we're 8 minutes deep into this video. Okay, I don't know how long I've gone right here, but you could tell he's telling a bunch of lies, and I busted a lot of myth right now from everything he's sharing. He's telling a bunch of lies, right? So he's shady. So pay attention to that.
Not a good way to build a reputation. The second way wholesalers make money is they somehow figure out to remarket a property that has been inappropriately listed. For example, let's say a house is accidentally listed as a condo. Not always, but that could mean that property is not shown.
If a market is listed as a condo, who listed it as a condo? That means a realtor listed it as a condo. So again, he's contradicting himself.
Up in the correct searches or portals, or the photography is poor or whatever, and the market depresses the value of that property because it's not really properly marketed.
The market does not depress anything. The market is the market. The market is always truthful, okay? The only people that lie to the market is realtors like him, okay? Professionals like all of us. We could lie to the market, but the market is always right. When the market shows up and says, this is what I want for my property, or this is what I'm willing to pay for this property, the market is always pretty much on point. Because that's the market. It controls everything. So again, I don't want to go too minutiae into, but like his language, minutiae, right?
Marketed. This is a lot harder for a wholesaler to take advantage of. But then if a wholesaler comes in and properly markets the property, they might be able to expand the existing buyer pool and find somebody to take advantage of that difference in payment again, where the wholesaler buys it low, artificially low, by essentially providing the service that a real estate agent does. But
no. They didn't provide the service that a real estate agent does. They didn't do that. What they did is they came in as a buyer. They put the house under contract. It was a legal contract that says you're giving me the option to purchase the property as long as I can close on it. Okay. If they put contingencies in it that allow them to escape, they can do that. If the seller allows them to do that, as long as the seller signed the document, it's absolutely legal. They're not doing the practice of okay. Usually, they have somebody in their network. The idea of a real estate wholesaler seller is that they have someone in their network, a partner, quote unquote, a partner willing to pick up the property. Now, are there blurring lines between that right there? Could they be acting as a marketer? Of course, yes. Okay, but again, if they're providing the value that the parties involved want, who are you to judge? Okay, especially if you're coming on YouTube to be shady, right?
Handedly doing so and charging way more than a real estate agent does and reselling the property to somebody.
They're not charging. They put the house under contract for $90,000. They were able to sell the same house for $150,000. It's called equitable interest. It's just a different business model. You should learn that, Kevin.
Another way this might work in the favor of a wholesaler is, let's say they locked up a property December 10th and they found a buyer January 20th and they had, say, a 90-day escrow going on or something to that effect. There's a chance the wholesaler might be able to take advantage of sort of that post-holiday buying rush, and prices might be a little higher.
Bullshit. Realtor talk. That's realtor talk. If you're a real estate wholesaler investor, you know the timing is always right when you come into the market, because you're always betting on the value of the property today, not based on speculation. See, just try to get you into realtor talk, speculation, holidays, during the holidays, bullshit. People buy when they want to buy, and they buy at the price that they think is worth when they want to buy. Now, do those things actually affect the market at large? Yes, of course, it affects trends. But that's where real estate wholesaling don't care, because real estate wholesaling is a very small sector of the demographic that belongs to the real estate wholesaling game. So they don't have to worry about the mass market. That's realtor talk. That's why you make 2.5, because you have volume. Majority of people will come list their property with you because they want the money. They want all that equity, and they have the time. More importantly, they have the time to want that equity. There's a small part of the market that don't have the time, and the best thing you can do for them is to get that property away from their hands. That's where the value came from. That's why they're making 50 grand, okay? And when it adds up to it, a realtor that's very, very good can make $100,000 a month. Well, if you close 2 deals, you close in 2 deals as a real estate wholesaler, making 50 grand each. You just made the same $100,000. To make that same $100,000 as a realtor, you may have to close a whole lot more. Rightfully so, because again, you're just there, not taking any risk, just putting the house on the market. I won't say not taking any risk, because realtors do spend money on marketing too, but it's 2 different business models that don't need to be compared to each other. This guy is here trying to just make some people look bad, okay? Or make you feel guilty for ever being a wholesaler. Bullshit. If you knew what you got into and you educated yourself well, this guy did not, he didn't get to deceive you, right? I hope not.
January. This really relies on market appreciation though, so that's why this number 2 is much harder.
Relies on market appreciations, aka speculation. Market appreciation is aka speculation. I teach you here to never worry about speculation or appreciation, because that's just bonus money. You worry about the market today. If you get into a $150,000 property and you're able to pick it up for $90,000, it's called good day. It's called being in business like a businessman, and it's called knowing how to do business based on today and not speculation, aka appreciation.
In terms of making money in wholesaling. Number 1 is generally what you hear about. Number 3, this is the biggest way people make money wholesaling real estate. They make videos telling you they made $10,000 a month wholesaling real estate, and then they sell you a course so that you.
So again, another person here sitting here telling you it's bad to buy or sell courses, to buy or sell knowledge. Does that make sense to you? I mean, let's just connect straight to your instincts, into your intuition, everything you learn as a child. You went through school, right? The idea that it's just very bad and scammy is a scam artistry thing to sell courses or to buy courses. You should not buy courses. Somebody made $10,000 legitimately. They shot a video and they say, hey, I'll teach you everything I know. And that has become illegal according to scam artists like this guy, right? Because they play into your victim mindset. He's not doing the victim mindset. He's shooting videos all the time. He has 23,000 subscribers. You best believe that this guy doesn't have this mindset. But he's acting like a narcissist. He's pretty much playing to your psychology, making you feel more like you probably already feel, like a victim. Because the victim didn't fall for this video, but I'm talking to the victims right now. Maybe you're on the fence. You're almost a victim, but you're not really a victim. I'm trying to push you over to this side and become a businessman like me and Kevin. Okay, just make sure you're not being shady like Kevin, because Kevin is out here lying to people, using people's names and stuff. But just make sure that you understand that there's a market out here that will value your business without you having to lie to people. Does that make sense?
You too can learn how to do basically what I just outlined for you and scam innocent people who are unaware of what the market value truly is of their property. I don't know if I've said this before, but it's not a good way to build a reputation.
It is a fantastic way to build a reputation, because he's doing the same thing here. There's a couple of ads that I've skipped, right? You see these yellow marks right here? These are ads. He's making money from this video, right? Some people should turn around and say, you're a scam artist. You're making money from these videos that you're putting up, right? Does that make any sense? Okay, it doesn't to you, it doesn't to me too, but here we go. You're watching Kevin, you're following him. It's nothing wrong with following him, because I was following him, and I still follow him, because he has some good videos, by the way, but he has some good points, actually, against Grant Cardone. But the idea of just picking people's name and just creating, if you're going to dispute anything that somebody says, you need to come from an authentic place. He tried to come from an authentic place with Grant Cardone because he still wanted to be on his good side, because he sees him as a big guru, and he still wants to be on his good side. But he's literally just attacked real estate wholesaling. Like, what the hell? It's not factual, okay? It's not factual. Don't come up with fake ideologies just because you want to shoot a video, just because you need content for the day, okay?
3 reasons wholesale.
This is an ad for a project management tool called Monday.com. This is what it looks like. And
see, that's an ad that just came up. That's an ad. You know how many ads came up in between this video? And he's calling somebody a scam artist because they're selling course of something they know, their own intellectual property. Makes no sense, right?
property. I don't know if I've said this before, but it's not a good way to build a reputation. 3 reasons wholesaling real estate often fails. Number 1, the market. As soon as a property is on the market, it becomes very, very difficult to tell the market not to buy a property, so you can depress the value of a property and buy it. Generally, when a property is on the market and it's priced correctly, it sells. If a property is on the market and it's underpriced, it sells really fast. Number 2 way real estate wholesaling fails, the agents flush you out. The really good agents will A, always put a property on the market, B, verify your proof of funds, even if you fabricate it, and or 3, they'll make sure that the pre-approval letter you give saying, oh yeah, I'm qualified to buy.
Well, guess what? I don't teach real estate wholesalers.
Verifying, so with the
I don't teach real estate wholesalers to go
pay
after.
special attention to your.
Sorry, I don't teach real estate wholesalers to go after properties on the MLS. Okay, because then you have to show proof of funds. If you have the money, sure, go for it. There's nothing wrong with it. The idea of knocking real estate wholesaling is just dumb. Okay, that's the point here that I'm trying to make against this guy. Okay, it's just dumb. Okay, people do business the way they deem fit, as long as they don't cheat, they don't steal, they don't lie. It's all good. It's all good.
Contingency periods. So if you go in saying, I'm going to do my inspections for 17 days and you haven't found a buyer yet, that agent can kick you out of the deal on day 18. Wholesalers often come to me and try to...
except that most agents don't want to kick no one out of the deal because they don't have buyers like that. There's no buyers floating around. That's why I teach real estate wholesalers to learn how to build a list of buyers. Okay, there's no rules against that. Okay, you can build a list of buyers. You can sell your services to realtors like him at a fee. They're called leads. Okay, they're called leads, and you could just get good at building the buyers list using internet marketing. That's what I teach here, by the way. That's something you get more knowledge from the myEmpirePRO.com. Just go there and download the book for free. You learn how to do that. You build your buyers list. You got to get into the game of building buyers, so you don't become a subject of this guy's naysaying. Okay.
Ask for 30 or 60-day inspection contingencies so that they have plenty of time to cancel the deal and still get their deposit.
You see, when I approach sellers as a real estate wholesaler, I don't ask for long term. I just tell them, listen, give me an option to buy your property in 30 days. And I'm going to be working with some of my investors to see if we want to pick it up, whatever we want to do. You need to get rid of it, right? I got you. Okay, I'll give you a call within 24 hours and let you know exactly what we're going to do. These people are motivated enough because they need to get rid of that. They're willing to sign an option, which is just a contract that says they allow me to buy the property for 30 days, right? 7 days. If the deal is really good and we're sure of the numbers, we'll close in 7 days. There's investors that will pick it up, but typically it's not always that way. You know, again, there's no one size fits all. It varies. Again, you're a problem solver. You're not somebody who is just out to make $50,000. Sometimes you make nothing. I've worked out of deals making nothing before, and I made the money later. And I worked out of deals making $82,000 before too. So it doesn't. What he's saying is pretty much the mindset of a stingy, greedy realtor. Okay, they want all the deals to themselves, and they can't see outside of the box how business can really move in the real estate business outside of a real estate brokerage or agency. Okay.
Deposit money back. This generally stands out like a sore thumb. It usually never works out, and it's the very, very rare time that a seller actually signs one of these contracts. We just had somebody try to pull that off on us. They were the only buyer available, so the seller went into escrow with them, and guess what? They lost their $5,000 deposit because they get screwed by the terms of the contract because they couldn't find a replacement buyer for the property. And I made sure their $5,000.
Well, that's why I don't. That's why.
Was at risk because I wanted.
He made sure $5,000 was at risk. See, I teach real estate wholesalers to don't put $5,000 at risk unless you're sure of the numbers, unless that deal is just that good. Because of scumbags like this guy, because of a douchebag like him, he's gonna make sure you lose that $5,000. You don't have to deal with people like him because there's if you know how to market, if you learn marketing, number one, there's a ton of deals out there already. Number two, you should really be building the buyers list. That's the really way you should focus. You learn internet marketing and use it to build a buyers list. That's where you should be focused. And you can sell that buyers list to Kevin as a lead, okay? And you can make money all day long like that. And if you want, you can get licensed too, and then use the buyers yourself. And your business is as simple as just like McDonald's. McDonald's is not in the business of burgers. They have the worst burgers in the world. They're in the media business. They own real estate in corners around the state because people pass through those places. There's cars driving through all the time. And if you want to make money in any game, as a realtor, as a wholesaler, as any of these things, you need to learn internet marketing and learn how to build a list of buyers. In that way, you'll be immune against this bullshit that this guy is talking about, and you don't have to worry about legalities or illegalities or all that kind of crap. You don't have to worry about that. You just turn around and you sell them a lead for $100 each, okay? Because you've learned internet marketing, very simple stuff. You learn it, and you learn how to build a list of buyers. All right?
Wanted to flush out whether or not they were wholesalers. I had a little bit of faith when they said, okay, we'll give you the $5,000. I'm like, okay, Mr. Seller, maybe they're not a wholesaler, because usually people want to.
Yeah, because there are some dumb wholesalers out here that will write that $5,000 check. And there are some people in the market that are being trained by dumb asses too, that put money on the line like that. Don't put money on the line with these guys. Don't do that, because you don't have to do that. If you do that, I'm hoping that you're a rehabber yourself, and you were hoping that you will actually buy the property. You could buy the property if you want. Maybe it didn't work out properly, but you decided to wholesale it to a friend or something like that. That's the only time you should ever put that kind of money on the line. You have to be sure that it's a deal in place, because again, there are douchebag realtors out here like Kevin, okay? And they will make sure that you lose that money. And they always try not, like, they don't want to talk to wholesalers when people call anyway. I even talked to one of my partners the other day. I wanted to call realtors and see if realtors can find you. I said, realtors are not going to find you deals. Realtors are typically greedy, or they don't know what they're doing. It's one of those two typically, okay? That's why they make $8,000 a year on an average. They still keep a full-time job, which is nothing wrong with that if they're willing to learn. But usually the ones that are doing okay, a little bit okay, in a matter of a few years, they think they know it all, like Kevin, and they can't think straight. They think everything revolves around everything they know. You always have to keep an open mind, guys. If you don't keep an open mind, you will hear another terminology like reverse wholesaling, like another terminology like wholesaling, and then you're gonna say it's a scam. You got to keep an open heart, an open mind, if you want to be a successful entrepreneur. Forget real estate wholesaling. Forget real estate brokerage. I'm talking about being an entrepreneur. It's about building a list of people that are hungry for what you have to offer. Building a list of buyers as a wholesaler is something that not only are you hungry for it, you're hungry for buyers. The market is hungry for it, because there's a ton of houses on this same damn MLS that people can buy, because they don't know how to present a good deal, right? They don't know how to present a deal based on the productivity of the deal. Some of the gurus that sold you courses, they have houses that they need to sell. That's a gap in the marketplace you could fill by bringing those buyers to the marketplace by simply learning how to build a list of buyers, right? Yeah, even people like Kevin need buyers, okay? That's where the money comes from. Money comes from buyers, okay?
Do that, and because they probably ended up being wholesalers and couldn't make it happen, they lost their $5,000, and the seller's happy you got an extra $5,000. Number 3, people who want the appearance of a quick and smooth sale and are willing to sell their properties for depressed prices can often resort now.
That's called value. You need to get rid of the property. That's called value. That's the actual value for that person. Value is not the same thing for everybody. Some people value the market value, which is the equity, and they have the time to extract that. For some people, that time that they don't have is the value. They need to get rid of that property right now. Kevin, you should learn something about that.
To features like Open Door, Zillow Instant Offers, Redfin Now, whatever. All this new crap that basically allows people to sell their properties to these online companies for dirt cheap. So
he said all this new crap, that's a sign of somebody who is not open-minded. When they hear a new terminology or a new technology in general, they always frown at it. And then they always be the loser at the end, because they are fighting against the market. If the market wants something, even if it's cheap, like the market right now don't want cable TV in their house anymore. And Comcast is going to lose big time if they don't pay attention. Like that, right? Anytime somebody say all this new crap, that's because they're arguing against technology and the market. Well, you can't. Civilization is here to stay, and it's always going to be evolving, okay? So sorry if you're a sore loser, right?
So that those companies can charge very large fees and then flip the properties and make a profit. Now, here's my advice to wholesaling real estate. Number 1, don't do it. Number 2, if you like real estate investing, watch my other videos to learn how to get...
Bullshit. We're not watching your other videos. You know nothing about investing. That's number 1. Number 2, don't do it. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay? You don't know what you're talking about, because people that watch this video right now, they will, okay, maybe I should learn something about real estate wholesaling. In addition to that, I'm going to learn how to get my license. In addition to that, I'm going to learn how to build a list, because I need to dominate, right? And some of your followers are going to be like, why does it not want us to know anything about real estate wholesaling? What is this agenda here, right? After all, Betty sold her house because she wanted to. What is the big deal? Why? Because you saw a wholesaler make 50 grand and you didn't make that 50 grand. What's your business? You have all these other deals you're closing, right? oh, this guy is just a sore loser. I want you to pay attention, okay?
Started in real estate investing. Number 3, if you want to provide a service and become a real estate agent, then you should focus first on how you can provide the best possible customer service to your clients, because that's what's going to create the best reputation for you. Wholesaling real estate creates a bad reputation for you.
I said bullshit, okay? If you want to make money in any type of business, you need to learn marketing. You're not going to make money if you don't learn how to attract people, okay? Very, very simply, what I'm saying, okay? If you don't learn marketing, okay? I don't care what business you're in, okay? No matter what type of business you're in, there are 3 P's in every business. There's people, okay? But there's this other 2 P's, right? There's process and there's a product. The product is real estate in this situation, okay? There's a ton of product out there. That's not a problem here, okay? The gurus can provide you products, okay? Other colleagues can find the product. You don't have to engage in that. The people is where the money comes from. Your money, where's my money? It comes from another person's hand. So if you learn how to build a buyer's list, either as a realtor, as a wholesaler, if you learn how to do that, you win any of those games. You won't need to be a combo. You won't need to be a douchebag. You won't need to bash other business models or other gurus or other people that are rightfully doing their business. You won't need to bash all of that, because you know that your money is not coming from the hands of victims. Your money is coming from the hands of buyers, right? And then you will focus on building a buyer's list. So it doesn't matter if you're a wholesaler. It doesn't matter if you're a real estate agency. It doesn't matter if you're a network marketer. It doesn't matter if you're pops and moms and corner store or the best dealership over here, right? You need to learn how to attract people. That's where the money comes from. When you attract people, you got to attract them to the right process. That's the second P, right? And then you got to connect it with the product. There's a ton of products out here. We don't have shortage of products, okay? We don't have shortage of product. If you want to produce the product too, like Betty, sure. Just understand that holding the property does take a lot away, and it takes a lot in terms of how much money you're going to have stock in there, right? So that's just another business model entirely. But if you're caring about building a business, if that's why you're following Kevin or you're following me, if that's what you're concerned about, you need to learn how to market, okay? And if you want to learn that, simply just go to my book. It's free. It's absolutely free. You can download it from myEmpirePRO.com right there, okay? Motivated sellers, you can find that myempirepro.com/redx, all the expired listings from people like Kevin, people that listed their properties that could never sell them. You can find them on redx, okay? And if you want to prospect them and get their house listed, or put a $90,000 offer on a $150,000 house, then you can go to myempirepro.com/redx. It's a fantastic platform. But more importantly, make sure you get the book, myempirepro.com. That will also give you access to a free 7-day course, which is Smart Business Empire, that will allow you to not kick against new things like Kevin, okay, and understand that technology is here to stay. We can all reach people, as many people as we want, using the internet today. If you simply learn the skills, you can build your own list, your own tribe of people that will loyally buy from you or buy whatever you recommend, and you can print money on demand. Just anytime you want, you feel like it, just like that, okay? Very simply, okay? So if I said anything here that makes sense to you today, please make sure to give me a thumbs up. Share the video with people you think. If you want to go share the video on this video in the comment area too, please feel free to go do that. Absolutely, I can appreciate that, because I can, like I said, I'm in the business of attracting people. You should too, okay? You should, because every product out here needs buyers, okay? And these buyers are people. Does that make sense? That's all I have for you on this particular. Subscribe to this channel. I shoot videos all the time. Every day I'm teaching real estate wholesaling, and I'm teaching list building, internet marketing, how to sell, all that stuff. We talk about all that stuff virtually every day, except I'm on a project, in Hawaii right now. I will start back on Monday again. But I saw this video was an emergency. I felt it in my spirit that I needed to respond, and that's what I did. So I'll see you on the next one, and peace.